Hi everyone, and thanks for joining me here on Herzography. In this episode, I'd like to go through for landscape photographers using a ball head or using a pano head. I know we've kind of talked about this before with some other heads, so I have the new head here from ProMediaGear, and it is very, very interesting, very exciting, and kind of like to go through that and doing landscape photography versus using my Acratech head that I've been using for a while now, and what I find the difference might be and why you might decide one versus the other. So let's take a look at the two heads and what they kind of offer. I'm going to start actually with the ProMediaGear head because I haven't done landscapes in a very long time with a ball head. And so I kind of want to go through what that kind of looks like when you are shooting landscapes with a ball head. So this ball head has a lot of movement to it, which is really, really nice, and it's very fluid, very easy to use. And it has a couple of levels on it. So this camera base, or this tripod, has a little bit of a leveling base to it, which makes it very convenient. I love having a leveling base in my tripod instead of a center column because, of course, I can get really low. And now it's level all the way around using that leveling base. So the problem with a ball head is that having this level is great, but it's not going to help you up here, because up here is going to be the true point that needs to be 100% level on all access points. So if I level that, perfect, great, so that is level. So now is it truly level? I think that is level. So now what I'd have to do is make sure that it's level here and level here, so that when I put my camera on, that as I turn to do a pano, I'm not going to have any movement in the head. So this works great for a single row panorama. So let me explain that. A single row panorama would be that when I'm setting up like this, I'm going to go from left to right and shoot multiple images on one row, and so that way I can stitch them all together. Hopefully I have a wide enough angle lens so that I'm getting enough scope on the top and bottom to be able to capture that full span all the way across. So this would somewhat work out, and let me explain somewhat. Normally, when I'm doing a panorama, I like to have the nodal point, so the center point between the front element and the sensor, that center point or nodal point directly over the axis of the turning point of the tripod. So the way to do that is to use a nodal rail, because the nodal rail is going to let you slide back and forth. That once I put the camera on here, like so, now I can slide the camera back and forth to get that nodal point right over the center of the lens. You can eyeball it. There are scientific methods of finding the nodal point for each focal length that you want to use. But many times I just try to get it in the right area because software today is very forgiving. Now there is a bubble level on the back of the nodal rail, and once you get that nodal point set up, you want to make sure that once again you are level on all of your levels, and you're level when you're turning, and now I am not. Once again, this is just an issue with using a ball head, because a ball head has so much flexibility, but all of that flexibility and variability means that as I'm turning, I'm not level. I'm not level on my nodal rail. It seems like I'm level on the clamp, but not on the nodal rail. So what's going to happen is that I'm going to wind up with images that are kind of shifting when they're all lined up, and then when the stitching software goes to put them together, I'm going to lose some on the top and some on the bottom, or a lot on the top and a lot on the bottom. And the software could have a much more difficult time trying to stitch those images together because they're not lining up exactly. So I'm finding that this is probably going to be a little bit more difficult for me than I thought it would be. So let me take this off. I'm going to try something else, and I'm going to try putting in another attachment for turning. So I'm going to take my leveling head, and as you can see, this leveling head has multiple levels in it for leveling in multiple directions at one time. So once I'm set up here, now with this this pano base, now I'm going to put it in here, and the pano base will actually turn, so that way I can lock down the head and see if my level, if I'm staying level in here. And as I'm moving this around, I'm just noticing that the level in the pano head is still moving. I'm just not able to capture or to create a really easy level pano adjustment on here. Not sure why, because I thought I would be totally level, but there is just enough variability in here where it's just not working. It probably would do an okay job, but not an excellent panning job the way I would like to see the panos come out. And then the next degree of variability when you're using a head like this is that it's really nice to be able to do multi-row panos. So as you are shooting and you do one rotation, you do that one line of images. Now you might want to dip the camera down a bit, or dip it or lift it up a bit, and thereby get another row of images. So that way you might do the horizon, then you might do the sky, and then put all of those 2 rows, let's say, of images together. That's going to be close to, I'm sure some people have done it, but it's going to be close to impossible to get that perfectly done with a ball head, because the ball head has too much variability in the way you are able to try to keep it try to keep it level on all axes, and that's why you're going to have trouble with a single row pano, and a double row pano is probably going to be close to, I'm not going to say impossible, but it's going to be extremely, extremely difficult, let alone is it going to line up correctly with your software being able to stitch everything well. All right, so here now I'm using the Acratech head, and I've got that lined up. Let's see if I can show you that. So you can see right there in the center, I'm all lined up. And so now I'm going to put the camera on. So here's where you need to decide which way the plate is going to line up. With many heads like this, you need to use a special tool like an Allen wrench to unscrew. And I'll tell you, there's nothing more irritating to me than having to be out in the field and find the Allen wrench, even though there's one right here in this particular L bracket. But if you're wearing gloves, sure, it's there, but it's a pain. Now, if you're doing nothing but, and you have this all set up, great. You don't have to worry about it. With this particular head from Acratech, they make it easy where you can just lift it up, get it into place, and then use the big knob underneath, and just with 2 fingers, you're tightened up enough where now you have it in the position that you want it in. And the reason why I say in the position that you want it in is because right now I'm using the nodal rail. And as you can see, the nodal rail is going to go on this way, so that way I'll be able to do my panels like this. If I wasn't using the nodal rail, and so let me go ahead and take that off. If I wasn't using a nodal rail, well, now you can see that when I go to put this on, the bracket is going to be, or the clamp is in the wrong direction, so I'd have to turn it. That's where, you'll see photographers say, well, just always leave the clamp. If you're shooting landscapes, just always leave your nodal rail on your camera, because that way you're always going to be set up properly on your tripod head. All right, so now I'm level here, and because I'm level here with this type of head, I'm level on wherever I decide to shoot, whether I'm shooting down and I go across, whether I put my nodal rail level, which I have just done, and let me clamp that into place. Now I know you can't see it here. You know what? I'm going to take it off the level. Take the camera off so that way you can see the level on here. So what you can do if you don't want to put the camera on beforehand is you can get everything nice and level right here on your nodal rail. You see I've got that set up just perfect. And it just so happens that this level is set up perfectly, and I bring that back in here, and then I set that level in, clamp it down. So now I know when I put my camera on here, it's very, very easy to go ahead and start shooting. So let me just pop that in here. There's some safeties on here that make it harder for me to put the camera in from the end. So that's why I have to open up the jaw of the clamp as wide as it'll go to get the camera on there. That's why sometimes it is much easier just to go ahead and take it off like this and then put it back on when you get to your next location and everything is set. So now I'm set level, so I'm going to do the first set of panos overlapping by about 40%, and what I usually do is I will take a look at this scale on the Acratech. Has a nice scale on here, and I'll say, okay, I'm starting at this point, and then 40% takes me to this point, so many degrees. And then I say, okay, so that's what I need to do for each one. So then I will take an image, then I'll just be looking at the scale, take the next image, looking at the scale, take the next one, take the next one, take the next one. And then once I'm finished taking all of those, I'll come back around and I'll say, okay, now I need to drop this down a little bit, or maybe raise it up a little bit like this. And then I'll go through and take the next whole row of images. Once again, this just makes it very simple to take your panos, whether it's a single row or a multi-row, and figure out which, what focal length you're going to use and how many rows of panos you want to use, but you know that they will all come out and stitch together perfectly and easily with the software that you're using. So I guess in conclusion, between the two heads, for me, for doing landscape photography, I'd have to say that as much as I really like ball heads, I've used a ball head for years and years, this is probably not the head that I would use for doing landscape images. Using a head like this or a gimbal head that I'll show you very soon, and we'll compare that against the Acratech head. Those are probably the ones that are very useful for doing landscape photography. I used to love using a ball head when I'd be doing a lot of floral photography, just because I'd want to keep moving around and very easily, with one hand, be able to adjust the tension. My right hand would be on the camera, just getting it right where I want it to be, and then it just made it very easy to use. So it really depends upon the application that you're doing. Are you going to be doing mainly just landscape images, or are you going to be needing a lot more flexibility with your head, maybe doing floral photography or something like that? So if you have any questions on this, please give me, just put your questions below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for joining me here on Herzography. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Give it a like and subscribe so you'll get notified of new videos coming out again real soon. Thanks again, and bye for now.